In 1797, the world's most powerful empire reached out to one of the last remaining city-states and made them an offer that they couldn't refuse: growth. They offered them all of the lands that surrounded them. They offered them a connection to the sea. They offered them farmland so productive it could have fed their population 100 times over. In effect, they offered them wealth and power. And the main reason that these people are still here today is because they said no. San Marino calls itself the most serene republic. And that's not just propaganda either, they genuinely mean it. This is not a nation looking for excitement beyond its own walls. After all, they were founded by a hermit, and their national motto is, "Rely on nobody." They've been an independent, self-governing nation since the 1500s, and yet they've never been involved in an act of aggression. Throughout the Italian Wars, Napoleon's invasion, unification, and everything else that's passed below these walls, they've always somehow managed to stay out of it. I suppose that's how it goes when you live on top of an out-of-the-way mountain. But even when they were bombed by Britain in the Second World War, killing over 60 of their innocent civilians, their response was simply to remind the British government that they were neutral and politely ask them not to do it again. Yet, despite their isolation, it isn't as though they're not a part of the world. They've mirrored all the major European social changes, both politically and technologically. They've simply done so with a more casual attitude. Some would even say serene. They've voted in both fascist and communist governments, and then when they didn't like them, just voted them out again. The only nation to ever do so, I might add. It sounds like a huge upheaval, but in reality, neither party really changed all that much. For all their ideological differences, even the fringe parties here know what isn't on the menu. Disrupt the calm, and you get the axe. The people are as in control here as anywhere else on Earth. San Marino is a true republic. With a population that would barely fill a football stadium, it's always been graced with the capacity for a genuinely democratic process. Voters in San Marino, at least by comparison, still feel the weight of their decisions. A voter here can much more easily influence their representative, and in turn their government, because there simply aren't that many people here to represent. And what's more, it's virtually always been that way. The system here mimics that of the ancient Roman Republic, meaning that they have a Senate who votes in 2 co-consuls who then represent the nation. They're voted in by representatives who are voted in by people, which makes it essentially one of the oldest democracies that's standing in the world today. And those co-consuls, they don't really have that much power as individuals, but they do, in effect, represent the nation internationally, sort of a face to put to the name. And it was one of these consuls, a man by the name of Antonio Onofri, who made the most important decision in the Republic's history. He said no to Napoleon. In the late 1700s, that famous French dictator was just starting to burn his way across Europe, and with him, he was bringing revolution. This was a leader whose power came not from his wealth or status, but from his ideology, the things he claimed to fight for. Supporters rallied to his cause because he promised freedom from tyranny, from monarchy. And it was in this light that his advisors presented to him the history of San Marino. For Republican ideologues, this nation was almost too perfect. It was like a public relations campaign built into a hillside. Here was a republic that had survived kings. It had survived religions. It had survived civil war. And it had done so through the sheer virtues of its system. As far as anybody could tell, it was republicanism that had kept San Marino alive. Naturally, that great French Empire wanted to reward them, not simply because it made them look good in the eyes of their subjects, but also due to the undying realpolitik of the world. Creating a powerful republican state in the heart of Papal Italy would no doubt be helpful in solidifying their conquest once Napoleon's gaze turned towards other lands. And so the people of San Marino were offered as much land as they could possibly want. As far as I can tell, it was a completely open-ended offer. Napoleon had conquered all their neighbors, and he was willing to share in the spoils of war. But Onofri knew that his people had no interest in becoming more powerful. His unofficial response was that wars may come and go, but neighbors are eternal. I guess put another way, mo money, mo problems. San Marino realized, as perhaps Napoleon had as well, that growing their land could never last. It would always lead to conflict. Eventually, France would collapse and the people they'd wronged would come for those who'd supported their conquest. The richer San Marino became, the more they would become a target. And to a self-reliant nation founded by a hermit on the top of a cliff, the idea of being a source of envy seemed like a fate worse than the wars it would inevitably bring. So the people of San Marino looked that gift horse directly in the mouth and politely declined. They would never again be offered access to the sea. They would never again be offered farmland. But to the people here, that was okay, because they understood what they got in the trade. Serenity. This is rare earth. And this is a really nice little country.